first cookie we're gonna make is the birthday cake cookie. The first thing we need to do is measure out all of our ingredients. So we'll start with the dry, and you need a pretty big bowl for this. We're gonna do a 2 times batch. We almost always do a 2 times batch. It makes about 32 cookies. So the first thing you do is you put your bowl on the scale before you turn it on, and turn the scale on. And then it will read 0, so it's just weighing what you add in, not the bowl as well. So the first thing we want to get is our flour. So for a ×2 of birthday cake cookies, we need 1 pound and 10 ounces of flour. Okay, and then we add the white cake mix, and we need 15 ounces. So we're gonna press the tear button again to 0 it out again. So now it's back to 0, so we'll only measure the white cake mix. So we're putting all of the dry ingredients together in one bowl, because we will add it all at once. Okay. And I press the on tear button again to get it back to 0, because we need to add the sprinkles. And that is going to be 6 ounces. Okay. And we need the white chocolate chips. So I'll press the on tear button again to bring it back to 0. And white chocolate chips is 14 ounces. And then we have the dry milk powder. So I'll press on tear again to bring it back to 0. And that's 2 ounces. Okay, and then we have baking soda, which we measure in teaspoons. So we don't have to worry about the scale because we're just throwing this in teaspoons. Just make sure it's level. Okay, and then the salt will be our last dry ingredient. And that's 2 teaspoons as well. And then we just double check to make sure we got all of the dry ingredients in, which we do. And then we give it a little toss with a spatula. Just so that all of one ingredient doesn't get stuck in one place in the dough. And then we set this aside for when we're ready for it. Okay, and now we need to measure out the butter and sugar to put in the bowl. So for the butter, we have 1 pound, 2 ounces that goes in. So first of all, we know that 1 block of butter is 1 pound, so we can just throw this in, but we want to cut it up a little first. And then we just need an additional 2 ounces. So we've got 1 pound here. We'll measure out another 2 ounces. And you can estimate based on the amount that the packaging says, but this looks like 2 ounces. Perfect. So we'll set this aside. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just chunks. And all the butter goes in the large mixer bowl. And now we're going to measure out the sugars as well. Okay, so granulated sugar, which is the white sugar, is 16 ounces, which is also a pound. Okay, so I put the bowl on, I pressed on tare to make sure it was at 0. Okay, and then we're gonna add the light brown sugar, which is 4 ounces. So we press on tare again to bring it back to 0. And just a small amount, 4 ounces. Okay, and then we add that in with the butter. Before we start the mixer, we'll get our eggs all ready to go. So for this recipe, we need 4 eggs. So we just crack all the eggs in a separate bowl to make sure we don't get any shell in, so we can get it out before we put it in the mixer. And we add the vanilla in with the eggs, and that's 2 teaspoons. Oops. Just do it over the bowl so any excess just goes in there. Okay, and now we can start mixing it. So we have the butter and the sugar already in the bowl of the mixer. We're going to take the big paddle and attach it. And you just pull it up and twist it to lock it on. To use the mixer, you have to lift it up and then close the shield. It won't start without the shield being closed. Always start on the 1 setting, and then we just press start. This is creaming the butter and the sugar together. With most of the cookies, you don't want to over cream the butter, especially this one, but we do want it to get fully incorporated. To speed up the process, after you've started it, you can switch to the second setting. To see if it's ready, just open the shield, or you can press the stop button. This looks pretty good. All the little chunks of butter have come out and it's all incorporated. So we're going to go ahead and add the eggs, about half of the eggs at a time. So this was 2 eggs. When you throw the eggs in, you can start on the second setting. Okay? Add the dry now. So we'll drop down the mixer to get all the dry ingredients in and turn the paddle towards the back so that we have room. So all the dry goes in at once. Be sure to set the mixer back at 1, otherwise all the dry ingredients will come flying out. And you want to mix it just until it's all incorporated. If you continue to mix it, they'll become overmixed. Okay, and that looks good. All the ingredients are incorporated, and I stopped it right about then. So I'm going to take it off the mixer so that we can scoop it. So now we're going to scoop the cookies. We've mixed them. So we just take the paddle out and make sure we get all the dough off the paddle so that we don't waste any. Just scrape it off with a gloved hand. It's fine. And then we take the scoop, size 16 scoop. So you kind of pack it in pretty tight. You take the excess and make it rounded around the bottom like this. And this looks like a pretty good sized scoop. You put on the sheet pan. You keep doing this until the sheet pan is full. You want to space them apart about a 1/2 inch, because after you've scooped the whole sheet pan, you need to press down each cookie about that much. So you continue to scoop the whole recipe and press them all down, and they're ready to go in the freezer. These are how the birthday cake cookies should look when they come out of the oven.